Attention Formula 1 fans, welcome to another F1 Manager 22 video, and this one is all about race management. I have been asked by a lot of you guys in Twitch chat and in YouTube comments, how do you manage the race? Tyre management, ERS management and fuel management. Now, the first thing you can do with fuel management, when you are in the lobby pre-race, under-fuel your car. Take off 2 laps of fuel. No matter where you are, who you're driving with, what your car is, what your development is, just take out 2 laps of fuel. I always start with -2 laps of fuel. That way, you can kind of choose what you want to do from there. You can go conservative, but having less weight in your car means a greater launch off the line. Verstappen qualified P10, by the way. Gives you a greater launch off the line. You do need to manage it a little bit more though, so you can't really sit back, just do other things. If you are playing F1 Manager and you're doing this strategy of underfueling your car, you really need to pay attention on the fuel load. Some drivers are better than others as well. I don't want to say it's the smoothness stat, but it may be. That's more to do with tyres, but I don't know if that affects fuel as well. Now, tyres. If you click in the left stick again, you get the pit strategy that you've kind of chosen, or if you haven't chosen one, it'll just kind of be blank. But you can see the tyre wear on the bottom left, okay?
It's a good stitch so far.
The white line that is vertical is where your tyre wear kind of is right now. The line that's kind of coming down that is white is your kind of strategic projection, I suppose, of where your tyre deg is going, tyre degradation is going. If you click the right trigger on PlayStation and Xbox, I'm not sure on PC, but in the top right is the R2 button there, you can see. This brings it up a bit more center screen. So, you can see both of my drivers are going from soft to hard. You can see the rough kind of projection of where the tyre wear is going to go over the number of laps. There is actually 2 dots of rain in the middle as well, which I didn't account for because I'm an idiot. But you can see where it is. This gives you a projection based on your standard pace target. If you change to conserve your tyres, the white line that starts coming down will have a little kink in it. Sometimes it'll kink like straight, sometimes it kinks up. Also, if your driver does a lock-up or has a spin, you'll get kind of a jagged kind of down movement because they've added a bit more wear to their tyres, unexpected. You can see Lando's one there, actually, started to go down and now it's spiked up a little bit. So his soft tyres are doing quite well after a lap. Max's as well is kind of planed out, gone a bit flatter, rather than continued on that downward spiral. Next up, if I change it to attack mode, for example, what I will do, I thought we were going to get some audio from Lambiasi there, but you can see we do start to go a little bit faster, kind of almost instantly. Now, throwing tyre wear on attack mode is very much a risky move, but it can pay off. It does mean your tyres heat up as well. So as you look at the wheels here, you'll see the tyre temps do start to go up, which can be a bit worrying. If you click in the left stick again, you can see the damage state and the temperature is like how your lap times are affected and how your tyre wear is affected. Next up, I'm going to show you how to manage ERS. Now what I'll do is I'll wait until we get onto the home straight here. And if you're stuck in a DRS train, this is a bit more difficult. But when you're coming out of the final corner, go into overtake mode if you want to overtake someone. It dumps a lot of battery quite quickly, but it gives you that acceleration out of the corner that you'll really need. If you're going to push for fastest lap, look at the overspeed we've got here over Leclerc. Very quick. Then just make sure you go back to kind of neutral if you want to save a bit, or go on to harvest if you want. You'll see there we cleared him pretty comfortably on the straight.
Okay, well done.
If you're going to go for the fastest lap, for example, if I wanted Lando Norris, who is in the lead by 4.5 seconds already, if I want him to go for the fastest lap, what I will tend to do is go harvest for a bit, go on to conserve, probably conserve some fuel as well. So the gap will close. You'll see here.
Lift and coast. Confirmed.
Bit of lift and coast. It does just mean that we save a little bit of fuel. You can see Lando's fuel is quite bad actually compared to Max's. But there's no traffic in front. Obviously, it's early days. I've already got fastest lap, so I don't need to worry too much. But if I was going to go for fastest lap in a race, as I'm coming towards the final corner, building up to that launch down the home straight, I'll go attack mode, I'll go push fuel, and I'll go deploy. Now, deploy battery means they'll deploy it over the whole lap. It's basically like a hot lap when you do qualifying, for example. So using the battery, you'll see he drains it over time. We'll go into times 2 to kind of zip round the circuit. You'll see that gap to Alonso will probably increase quite a lot. My fuel is going to be in the mud after this. For the purpose of this video, I'm hoping I can make it to the end of the race. But the gap's increased from 4.7 to 5.4. We've already gained almost a second now, about halfway around the lap. We're still flying. When we get towards the end of this lap, we may well get a new fastest lap. But the biggest thing we'll get is we should have a massive gap to... It's going to be Verstappen now, actually, who's overtaken. You'll see here, we'll come round to the end. You see the ERS, has gone to 37%. That should be the new fastest lap. We'll go back onto neutral, conserve, and kind of standard on the tyres. I don't actually know if that was fastest lap in the end. Verstappen's now in second. And you can see here, as we've gone through, that push lap from Norris has kind of kept that trajectory on the downward spiral there. That's kind of the easiest way to manage sort of the race, basically, guys, and kind of do it from there. Now, if your tyre temps start to get bad, as you'll see with Verstappen, his tyre temps are probably still not fantastic. 138, 140 degrees. Obviously, as he's cornering, it's different. But because he's now kind of moved clear of Alonso, what I tend to do is go into a bit more kind of conservative mode when we get there. You can kind of extend your stint. Because whether you win the race by 20 seconds or 5 seconds or 1 second, you get the same amount of points. There's no point pushing and pushing and pushing just for the sake of it. As well, if you get a safety car or something, you don't really want that to impact. So once you've got a big gap, consider going into conservative mode. Now, with fuel, if you do run out of fuel, it kind of happens normally on the last lap, if anything. If you get to the end of the race and you haven't got fuel, your car will stop on track. So you will run out of fuel, you will not complete the race, you will get 0 points. Sometimes I've seen people get 0 fuel, and if cars have been lapped, they somehow seem to finish above them, which is a bit odd, but there you go. But yeah, basically manage your fuel, manage your tyres. ERS is probably the hardest one to manage. If you leave it on neutral, it's kind of playing it pretty safe. I tend to use overtake mode. So, for example, if like when Verstappen was behind that sort of trade, if you want to get past, the hardest one, to be honest, is Monaco. This is a great strategy for Monaco. Out of the final bend, go overtake mode down the home straight and just push. Sometimes you can get an overtake there. On the tracks like Monza, for example, very difficult to manage ERS, because if you go overtake mode on someone, you will be punished further down the line because you'll have less battery. So if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing it and then switch to harvest, because it's all about keeping the percentages high. Because for those of you that don't know how ERS works, it's kind of getting that launch out of a corner. It's the extra battery power to push. So it gives you a good push out of a corner. You'll see it drains on a corner. When a car brakes, they recharge some battery. So, but if you're in like deploy mode, you're going to sort of save less and less. Hopefully this video has helped you kind of understand how to manage a race a bit better. As well with pit stops, all I would say with pit stops, when you do the pit options, on the right hand side it gives you the estimated pit position, the exit position. You basically need to try and weigh up roughly where you may come out. I mean, I doubt Verstappen would come out in P20, but he will come out into a difficult place. Maybe ahead of that Albon-Bottas train, maybe behind Tsunoda. Again, if you know you're coming up to a pit window, if you have tyres and fuel available, just deploy them as much as you can. Try and get yourself into a good gap where you'll release either behind someone for DRS or into a big gap where you know you've got some clear traffic, nothing sort of holding you back. Hopefully this video has helped you though, guys. Please do leave a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Do leave some comments down below. What other videos do you want to see? Has this helped? Can I explain anything better for you? Do subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you soon for another video.